Ghost in the Shell, directed by Mamoru Oshii. It's the 1995 Japanese animation or anime science fiction film based on manga of the same title. Now, this review will contain mild spoilers, and I thought with the release of the live adaptation growing ever so closer, that I do my own review of what is regarded as a classic, but also a movie that I've never seen before until only last night. Now, when it comes to anime, I'm not an expert. I have recently been introduced to this form of storytelling over the last couple of years, and I've only seen about 3 or 4 maybe. You know, that being down to just not getting around to watching anime. But fortunately, I was introduced to it not so long ago. For someone who's relatively new to anime, I feel this movie, Ghost in the Shell, makes quite a good introduction into this art form, you know, this form of storytelling. So for those of you that have never sat and watched anime before, I'd highly recommend checking this movie out first. I'm going to apologise in advance that if I say any of the names incorrectly, if I pronounce any of the names incorrectly, it's highly likely that I will. But I do apologise in advance. So the plot. In the year 2029, a cyborg federal agent named Motoko Kusanagi and her partner hunt a mysterious and powerful hacker called the Puppet Master, who illegally hacks into the computerized mind of cyborg human hybrids. So pretty much almost all the humans in this world, I think it's a post-World War III, have some sort of cybernetic implant that may improve them in some way. So some may be more human than cyborg, others the other way round. Now, these cyborgs all have a ghost, which in a way, to me anyway, represents their soul. So basically, in 2029, much of humanity has acquired these cybernetic bodies or shells, and they still, still possesses their consciousness, which is referred to as the ghost. But by being these cybernetic bodies, it also provides them with these superhuman abilities as well. And there are some characters that are not as cybernetic as others, like Motoko, for example, the main character. She is more cybernetic. They still have their consciousness, which I would think of as being their soul. And in a way, this all reminded me of another film, another story, and that is RoboCop. It reminded me an awful lot of RoboCop as well in that way. Motoko is left pondering her own existence and what life might be like if she had more human traits. She's left wondering what her reason is to be in her. I mean, how real is she? All of these really sort of deep, thought-provoking messages that really attracts me to these sort of stories. Now, the antagonist of the piece is the Puppet Master. And the Puppet Master is born in the net, or you could say the Matrix, because, you know, the Matrix was heavily inspired by this movie. The net is a realm, a place where the cyborgs, you know, if you've got these implants, they plug themselves in, and it's like a different world. If it, you know, it's not reality as such, but you're in the net where you've got all this information around the world, and this is how the Puppet Master was born, through this, you know, vast amount of information. And you know what, I really like that. I mean, it's been in other films, you know, this has been replicated in other films before, and I just really found it very deep and thought-provoking, because, I mean, you know, to me, it's very plausible of something like this happening. Last night was the first time for me to actually watch this film. I'd heard about it, and I'd always wanted to check it out, being so attracted to its themes and story. But last night was the first chance I got, and I'll be honest, this is one of those movies that really needs more than one viewing to really truly appreciate what is a masterfully crafted film. You know, this is quite a deep film, though the plot is not really that complex. It's pretty straightforward, there's so much more to it when it comes to its deep messages and its questions on the existence of life, as in why, why are we here? And even though it's about a cyborg contemplating its reason to being here and how real she might be, it also asks me as a human, why are we here? For me, this movie really affected me because of those messages, and that people, whether it be you are religious or you're not religious, will leave you asking questions. I thought it was a very powerful, thought-provoking film in that way. Now, I don't want to go too deep into its themes and messages, as that would be more suitable, I think, for another video in the future. But what I will say is how beautiful this film looked. The animation was gorgeous. They combined a digitally generated animation with traditional animation in this film, and it was very seamless and well done. The look of the movie reminded me a lot of Blade Runner. With the neon lights and these long moments where you're just immersed into this world by having these scenes which just focus on the city and its characters, and they are beautifully drawn. It's a very immersive experience and accompanied by an amazing score. I loved the score in this film. It had this very sort of religious sound to it, I felt, of sort of different sort of religious cultures in a way, you could say, combined, and which for me sort of went well with the questions I felt this film was asking and exploring. The music accompanied the film's themes very, very well, and its questions. But I did really appreciate these long takes of the cityscape and the surroundings, and the long, beautiful takes of its main character, Motoko, staring off into the distance, into the cityscape. You could see that she's really sort of questioning herself and her life and her existence. And these scenes may come across as a little simple, pretentious, and arty to some, but they had so much hidden within them, so many deep messages hidden within these scenes, these moments. You could tell, like, by looking at her, she's overwhelmed by life and its existence, and she's questioning that, that existence, and without anything being said, and it's all told through the power of images. There's a scene during the opening credits that shows Motoko being born, you could say, into the world, being made, and it's a beautiful scene. I loved it, very elegant, and it pretty much sums up one of the film's main themes, including the shot of Motoko jumping off the building at the beginning, which has been replicated in the live adaptation movie. How do I know that? It's in all the trailers. But yeah, beautiful shot, and it really does set up what the main theme and messages are throughout the story, which is sexuality and gender identity. For example, you've got this female figure, which is also sort of masculine, shows no sign of a reproductive system. And for me, this was like, so this is what the future will become like. We are just made. We are just constructed. But then where is our soul? What makes us different and unique if we can't create life? I mean, what do we become? And all these questions are thrown at you throughout the movie. But it started beautifully in a visually stunning opening. There's not an incredible amount of action in the movie, and I feel some may be put off by that. But for me, this story is not about the action, it's about the characters, the themes of sexuality and gender identity, and its messages and the world they live in, which has become very artificial. I thought the climax of the movie involving a very cool looking tank was very well crafted, very tense, and beautifully animated. There's a moment where she's on top of the tank and she's trying to get to the pilot. She's trying to rip the door off, and as a result ends up damaging herself. And the way they did it, at that very moment I forgot I was watching an animation, because it felt and looked so real. You got so immersed, and it was all down to how well this movie was crafted. And it, that particular scene where she's breaking apart, it actually made me wince. If you love anime or Japanese animation, and you have, like me, have never seen this movie up until last night was the first time for me. If you haven't seen it before, check it out because it's a visual treat with so much meaning and deep messages. You know, it's a beautifully crafted movie. And even if you're not really a fan of this type of storytelling, I do highly recommend you give it a go at least once. I think for some, it may be a little bit too complex and murky, but for me, I really appreciated the story and its meaning. I mean, the story does become a lot more clearer as the plot unravels, but in a way it was maybe slightly predictable, but it wasn't in your face sort of predictable, but I can see how it could become, it could be complex for some people. But I really did appreciate the story and its meaning and the way this film was crafted. When it comes to animation, this movie was technically perfect in every way, and I'll be giving Ghost in the Shell an A+. Well, that's my review of Ghost in the Shell. Thank you again for watching. I really do appreciate it. I do recommend that you see this film more than once. I definitely will. I fell in love with it straight away. Last night being my first time. And I know there's going to be more to find buried deep within this film and its story. In a way, I sort of wanted to watch the film more before I actually done this review. What have I got coming up next? Well, straight after recording this video, I have got an unboxing of Z-Box, which have just arrived in the post. So yeah, that'll be my next video. But what did you guys think? Or what do you guys think of the 1995 animated Ghost in the Shell? Let me know below. Was there anything you agreed or disagreed with what I said or my opinions? Please let me know below. And if you like what you see and you share the same passion as me, then why not hit subscribe and follow me on my journey.